Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. What are you doing, Major? Stealing the show. You're learning that from Sarge. Wanted to go over another Swiss Army knife that I brought with me, and this basically is the Swiss Army knife that I've been using as just an everyday carry knife for a little while now. Really like it and like to go over it with you. Now, of course, I'm getting ready to do my second video on a Wenger Swiss Army knife, but I don't want people to think that I don't like Victorinox. I really do, and I have I probably have 8 or 9 Victorinox Swiss Army knives. I really like them. But this is a handy little job right here, and I forgot that I had wrote down the information on a pad here that I keep for my YouTube stuff. So let me go over the stuff that I wrote down here. This specific knife is, and I don't doubt that this is going to show up. It may, we'll see. But anyway, it's the Wenger Patagonian Evo Grip S18. Okay. Now the Evo Grip is basically this rubbery material that they put on there, and they kind of scalloped the scales of the knife to make it a little bit more ergonomic. And it's called the S18. It's got, I think, 18 tools. One of the cool things about this here blade is that this blade also locks, and this is the lock right here, or the lock mechanism. Okay, so let me read off this crap real quick. This was kind of neat because this is actually about the Patagonian race, and I looked that up on the internet, and it's really neat. Patagonia is the southern tip of Argentina and Chile in South America, and evidently it's just a beautiful environment. The pictures that I saw were absolutely breathtaking. Well, Wenger supports a competition. Matter of fact, it's called the Wenger Patagonian Adventure Race, I think is what it's called, or I'm sorry, Expedition Race, because it's actually imprinted on here. And I got to reading about that, and I thought it was pretty interesting, so I thought I would talk about it for a minute. The course ranges from 320 miles to 680 miles in length, and it's basically a endurance adventure race, including disciplines for navigation, and that's compass and map only, trekking, mountain biking, paddling, climbing, and they work in teams of 4, and each team has to have both men and women. And now they have checkpoints, but the checkpoints are only for where you're changing disciplines. Like you may be mountain biking and now you need to climb, so you need to get your climbing gear, or get your paddling gear, your canoe, whatever you're using. That's the only checkpoints that they have. Now, and another thing that I read that I thought was kind of interesting, unlike some endurance races where you go for a certain amount of time and everybody comes to a checkpoint, and then they start the second phase the next day or after a certain break or whatever, and they leave by the order in which they showed up. With this, it's straight through. Like I said, you get a checkpoint for equipment, and that's it. And the race routes and the maps that they hand out to the different teams, they actually don't give it out to people until the actual night before the race starts. So, pretty neat race. It's worth looking up on the internet and looking at. Looks like beautiful country. Okay. And for my UK fans out there, the UK team has won in 2009 and 2010. So, go Britain. Now the knife. Now I've already showed you the fact that it has a nice little blade on there, and it's stainless steel, of course, kind of a small utilitarian blade, and it is locking, which is basic reason that I bought this knife, because this is one of the regular size, medium size Wengers. Alright, the rest of the tools on there. Now this is the little nail file. Okay, I never really thought that there was a reason to do your nails when you're out in the bush or out in the woods. one thing that I found is this little emery board simulated piece on this. It's good for striking matches, so I did find a pretty decent use for it. Now it also has a wood saw on there, and this wood saw is quite a bit smaller than on the Swiss Army knife that I just showed you. And do I have it with me? Take it in my pocket. Give you a size reference. You can already see that the knives are quite a bit different in size. And there's the saws. Alright, let's see. This one also has a cap lifter and screwdriver head there, and here is the can opener. And I don't know, I found this can opener to be pretty good. I kind of like it. And I think I got one more tool on here. Yep. It does have a pretty useful set of scissors on there. Like I said, this is a knife that I carry with me on a daily basis. Really like it. I had a S18 Evo Grip that I was carrying around. The only reason I changed out to this one right here is because it had the locking blade on it. And again, they have the Phillips head that you can use like that to get a lot of grip on there. And finally, the little awl. Now, I prefer the awl that's on the Swiss Army knife, the Victorinox Swiss Army knife, over the Wenger. This does not have an edge on it, and that's, again, a personal preference thing. Now, on the smaller tool, like the Victorinox, it does have the tweezers and toothpick. Okay? So, oh, wait. Let's carry on from my last video, and let's see if this saw is worth a darn. I need to do something. It's starting to get dark. By the way, this here stick I'm sawing in half here, it's probably about as big a piece of wood that you want to use with this short piece of saw here. But as you see, it's doing all right. All right. The saw design on Wenger Swiss Army knives is kind of a double cut, so it cuts on the push and the pull, which is probably kind of handy since it's small. Alrighty. Now again, this little Swiss Army knife is one that I carry around with me on a daily basis. Not that I'm thinking I need to make a tent peg while I'm at work or at the mall. Actually, though, I have never thought I would say this, but I have ended up using those scissors quite a few times. They've come in handy a few times, and the knife blade is a nice knife blade. As a survival tool, this blade right here, because it's so thin, and it will hold a pretty good edge, and it gets pretty sharp. It would be an excellent for food preparation, maybe skinning out a rabbit, squirrel, something of that nature in a survival situation, or if you were just hunting. It's a useful blade, and just for whittling around on a stick, does a fairly good job, as you can see. Alright, now for the notch. Hope this is on, being shown on the camera. Alright, that should do just fine. There's another tent peg. Here's another Swiss Army knife. Alright folks, thank you for watching. And as always, shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.